Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast, home of people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed. I want to welcome you into the show. Oh, my friends, I know I'm gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way today. We're gonna trigger a whole lot of people, so I want to put this up immediately. A viewer discretion is advised. You are choosing to watch this content. You continue to do so. You're doing it on your own volition. You're welcome. Let's keep going. So, my friends, as a guy who was raised with a Christian background, I always found it really interesting when I would hear other people talk about their religion, right? And about other sects of Christianity, S-E-C-T, sects of Christianity, all that kind of stuff. But you know what really got my goat as I grew up and I started to put the pieces together, so to speak? I started to realize something. I said, wait a minute. The church has done a lot, but I always wondered why in the church they always said, oh, you gotta give money to the church. And there are country songs, there's a whole thing about throwing money in the plate at church, donating money to the church, doing all this kind of stuff. So, I was curious, I was thinking about it, and this is not something that I've done just on a whim. I've thought about this for years. But it was, how much of religion is just a business? How much of religion is just about money and grifting? And, Mormons tend to be nice people. They tend to be good people in general, members of the LDS Church. In fact, I have a personal story about a guy who was an LDS Church member who I met when I was down in the worst stages of my life, and he helped save my life. I can't wait to meet. I hope I meet him again one day. He was an older gentleman. He really saved my life. I will never forget what he said to me, but that's not the main point of why I bring up the LDS Church. The reason I bring them up is because they're the richest church on the planet. And my friends, I believe there to be this invisible boogeyman named Religion Incorporated. I believe there to be a underclass of people who are just religious for all the wrong reasons. And one of those wrong reasons is about money. And if you don't believe me, I would like to present to you Exhibit A. Hold on, which one should I show first? You know what? We'll show this one first. The feds find the Mormon Church for illicitly hiding $32 billion in investment funds behind shell companies. Uh-oh, Spadudios. Uh-oh. My friends, look at this. So, in case you didn't know, the Mormon Church is estimated at about $100 billion, not a million, $100 billion. Now, they're not the only people who do this. They're not the only entity that has a lot of money behind them. I mean, for God's sakes, look at the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is loaded with dough. But, again, this is what I'm talking about, with there being a dark side of the moon, if you will, about religion. This is what I'm talking about. Whistleblower. Oh, boy. Here we go. Says the newspaper said the church's holdings had grown to... Oh, look at that. I haven't read all this article, by the way. $100 billion. For more than half a century, the Mormon Church quickly built one of the world's largest investment funds. Almost no one outside the church knew about it. Well, of course, because in my opinion, the LDS Church is closer to a cult than it is an actual sect of Christianity. But that's just my personal opinion. That does not mean that Mormons are bad people. In fact, the opposite is true. In my experience, Mormon people have been fantastic and nice people, despite the fact that a lot of them are more theocratically fascistic, but you know what? That's okay. That's what they do is their business. But, my friends, this is not exclusive to the Mormon Church. Let me go to Exhibit B. The Vatican Bank estimated at, oh boy, look at that, 2.8 bill in euro assets. Huh, and that's just the Vatican. The Catholic Church in general, $30 billion. Now, a lot of that is from the appreciation of the art and whatnot. This is true. However, what they won't tell you is back in the day, they had these things called indulgences, which the Mormon church also had, where you could pay for your sins to be forgiven. In other words, you basically give the church money, and then the church in turn would then pray on your behalf to have your sins forgiven. Or if you were the Mormon church, you could pay for Brad Pitt to go to heaven. Oh yeah. Well, you didn't know about that, did you? This is what I'm talking about. This is religion incorporated, where it's all about the money and not about your peace of mind or your soul. Which is why I'm a cynical person and I point these things out. Now, a lot of horrible things have been done in the name of religion, which is why I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself more of a spiritual person. Now, Religion Incorporated is very real. Let's go back. And if you think I'm just picking on Christians, you're mistaken. Let's look at this. You think of Saudi money, right? You think of the oil. You think of all the oil that's being pumped out, right? Well, of course. But before the 1930s, most of their money was built off of the pilgrimages to Mecca. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of their economy was put off of the religious people who traveled to Mecca to fulfill, I think is it the Hijrah? I'm sorry, the Hijrah. I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce it. I'm not Arabic, okay? But I think it's the Hijrah, I think is how they pronounce it. I could be wrong. If you're Muslim and you want to get mad, you can tell me the proper pronunciation in the comments section if you want. Go ahead, make my day. But you're going to miss the forest for the trees if you don't get what I'm saying to you. Tourism is largely based off of the Muslim pilgrimages to Mecca. That's where the money came from before the oil was discovered. Made off of religious gain. My friends, Religion Incorporated, in my opinion, is disgusting. And the reason why I hate it so much is because it's exploiting people. Now, not all religion is a religion incorporated. A religion incorporated is people who they profiteer off of the poor in spirit, so to speak. They profit off of the people who want to just be good people, or who are very religious, or they could be zealots for all I know. But a zealot, if you don't know what that is a person who's very fanatical. That's what a zealot is. My friends, a lot of horrible things are done every day in the name of religion and have been done for centuries. I'm not immune to that fact. I understand that. This is just another reason why I'm cynical, is because of this idea of Religion Incorporated, where the church makes a lot of money, not just the Christian church, but all religions do this. They make money at your expense. They try to make money off of your need to understand things that are beyond your current comprehension, to understand the greater universe, to understand this unknowable being that everybody inherently feels, this emptiness within the human psyche and soul is well documented and well known in the psychology and sociology profession. But people make a lot of money off of that reality, and I find that to be sick. Now, do people need to make a living? Yes. Do people need to have money for food and shelter? Yes. Does that mean they should be making millions and billions of dollars? No, I don't think so. I find that to be a little more underhanded, distasteful, borderline illegal in some cases. Again, let's go back to the Mormon case, right there in bold. $32 billion they were hiding in shell companies. Now, I could do a whole show about what I believe about the Mormon church. It has nothing to do with the individual Mormons. Again, for those of you who want to castigate all people, same thing can be said for the Muslims. Muslims, a lot of people who are Muslim are great people. But it is the influence of the religion and the leadership of said religion that is the problem in a lot of ways. And that can be said for every religion as far as I am concerned. That is why I don't like organized religion in general. I find it largely to be Religion Incorporated, where it's about the money, it's about the social aspect, about everything else other than caring about your soul and your spirituality. It's about pretty much everything else. with a little bit of that sprinkled in there every once in a while if they feel like it. Well, my friends, that is what Religion Incorporated is. I don't hear anybody else talking about Religion Incorporated, this idea of the church making a lot of money, and by church I mean the religions in general making a lot of money off of basically extorting people's souls, and oftentimes their morality as well. We could throw that one in the mix. Do they do some good? Sure. But like the missionaries who went to Hawaii, they came to do good and they did very well indeed, and ended up owning everything. Knights Templar, anybody heard of the Knights Templar, Freemasons, all that? The Catholic Church had so much money back in the day, they literally had their own private holy army that they would loan out to countries, whether it be directly or subvertly, they were called the kingmakers. The Catholic Church were the kingmakers. The clergy were the kingmakers back in the day. They were so powerful that the kings of Europe would fight over them just to try to control the Pope, because the Pope was so powerful. Again, you don't see a connection? I do. I see a very direct correlation. My friends, how do you see, now that I've kind of pointed this out to you, maybe you suspected this, maybe you kind of knew it was on the surface, but what do you think about Religion Incorporated, this idea of profiteering on the poor in spirit? What do you think about this? And it's not just people who are clergy members. There are people who make a living off of talking about religion, talking about how to pray, praying for people, Christian music. I mean, everything. All of it is largely around Religion Incorporated, making money off of what's supposed to be a very personal thing, in my opinion. My friends, what do you have to say about this? I'm very curious what you had to say. You agree? Disagree? Fair? Foul? Whatever? I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about this, because I don't hear anybody else talking about this. My friends, stay informed, stay vigilant, and please, for God's sakes, question everything. Alright. I'll see y'all around next time. I'm out of here. Peace.